This is NEGOTIATEx TV.
Hey everyone, Nolan here. I'm the co-founder of NEGOTIATEx. With me today is my good friend Aram Denisian. Aram is also the co-founder of NEGOTIATEx. But more importantly, we have Gary Ortiz from Sonos. Aram, I'll kick it over to you to introduce Gary.
Yeah, thanks, Nolan. So, folks, we're blessed to be joined today by Mr. Gary Ortiz, Global Sourcing Manager at Sonos, where he develops and manages supplier relationships, executes sourcing strategies, and balances business needs with building strong alignments with various engineering teams. Prior to joining Sonos, he was the director of engineering for Hayward Industries Pool Products Division, which, by the way, I believe I have both a pump and a heater from Hayward. There, he served as the principal expert on engineering, technical, and service matters, business development needs, supporting customers, and day-to-day plant operations. He led a cross-functional team of 25 people with an expense budget in excess of $19 million. By the way, those Hayward products continue to work very well. So good. Thanks, Gary. Gary has an MBA from Wake Forest University, a Bachelor of Science in Electronic Engineering Technology. And I'll add that he has generously given of his time in many ways over the years, from Little League boards to Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And I would also add that he's mentored a group of my MBA students a couple of years ago on a negotiation consulting project. They truly loved learning from you, Gary. And it's really exciting for me to say thank you and welcome to our program today.
Thank you. This is thanks for having me, and it's a great pleasure. I look forward to our discussion.
So, Gary, for our listeners who aren't familiar with Sonos, can you tell them a little bit about what your company does?
Sonos is a high-end audio company. What's special about Sonos is all of our speakers are wireless, so you have seamless wireless speakers throughout your home. You can enjoy room-to-room listening seamlessly. They are powered, so you get high fidelity sound out of these amazing home theater and portable speakers now. So we've recently got into some portable speakers you can take to the beach, put on your boat, waterproof, weatherproof, all that. So really, really great company.
Awesome. Thanks, Gary. Now, I just kind of wanted to kick off the conversation here by talking a little bit about how you got into negotiation, both personally and professionally. And have there been any key milestones in your development as a negotiator?
Yes, I'll start off. I think where I sit today, you look back, and I will tell you that I think we all start negotiating as children. If you think about it, and children are some of the best negotiators in the world. Who wants to, when you're tired at the end of the day, they know every button to push, so, I was that kid, right? I advance a little forward. I was also that kid who was negotiating various punishments for my brother and I. It was like, and so my parents confused me with an attorney. Said he doesn't need an attorney. I said, no, hold on a minute. So that was me. I was the older brother, and we were thick as thieves at times. So that was my thing. So, but I will say professionally, I think just over the years, little by little, I found that I enjoyed it. I think again, starting personally, it was really car buying. A lot of people hate that. I love it. But meeting people. There's one person in particular that I would credit for my professional development or startup, I should say. John Barbieri. He was a salesman with Thermophil, Asahi Thermophil, and he he was just an amazing guy, and he had a lot of patience. And he and I developed an amazing relationship, and he was the one who taught me. Relationship is key. Honesty, integrity, trust, and building that was so important. And it was amazing how well he did it. And I just, we worked together for many years. He made me understand that our relationship was always above board, and it was always beneficial to his organization and mine. And he taught me so much and inspired me to learn so much more. to the point where his company brought us up and at his retirement day, and we surprised him, a couple of us, that it was a really, he is still a great guy. I talk to him every once in a while. He's great. He's retired, but he's the one who's given me the most that kind of kickstart early in my life.
Yeah, that's a great tribute, but also got a great point, right? I think it's get lost sometimes, the importance of relationship in these sorts of negotiations. Um, so you kind of, I guess, maybe building even off that relationship piece in your current role as a global sourcing manager there at Sonos. How is it that you're using or utilizing negotiation skills daily, dealing with both internal and external stakeholders?
Yeah. So, part of our job as we um, try to find the strategic relationships, right? We're dealing a lot with very technical teams. And being an engineer myself, I can appreciate that, when you have something and you have trust in it, a widget, some sort of silicon part, they're rewarded for going quickly and efficiently, but making sure obviously their designs are very robust, so they get comfortable with products, companies, etc. One of the things that I find myself doing is negotiating with them, that bringing out, trying to get them to change their mind a bit, or open their mind more than anything, with regards to other products or services or value adds that some of our suppliers have. And it's sometimes difficult, but that is step one, right? They earning their trust, earning their confidence is really key. So you find yourself doing that. I think when I came to Sonos, one of the biggest challenges is we were just a sourcing, purchasing people, and we do everything but that, right? And so I would say that's some of the main stuff internally. And then externally, we're constantly, and you can imagine, and I'm sure we'll get into that later, just the way, in the 3 years, 3.5 years that I've been here, how the pandemic has really affected our negotiating and what we've had to do. So we're constantly negotiating and working both internally and externally to balance those things. And it's I've learned a lot. I really have. It's amazing, and still have a lot to learn.
Yeah, we'll get more into that external, especially with the last couple of years of the pandemic. Just in just a moment. That was a little bit of a setup question because um, I, I feel like so often people forget about the internal negotiations that have to occur. You started answering by talking about kind of the internal alignment and that you do. Is that, I mean, from where you sit, are those internal negotiations sometimes more difficult than the external? Or are they just different?
They can be more difficult, right? Because you have a group of people who kind of set or have a strong foundation. I say I'm an engineer, but I am nowhere near the capabilities that some of these folks are. So you take that with a grain of respect. So you have to earn their respect. You have to be able to understand how to influence them, right? Something that I've had to do, is there'll be pockets of things that you just can't. They're immovable. And I think one of the things negotiations have taught me is, helping to increase your areas of influence. So if I can't, let me see if I can, get some further support and work the angles that way. And so when it's not just coming from me and it's coming from other groups or other functions, it seems to help. And so it can be harder, especially for newer. When you're newer, it becomes, I think, a lot of work. But it's what we all say, right? The respect and trust is earned, and as long as you bringing evidence-based positions, I think that's really key and critical.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, Gary. And so I just want to kind of dive into this just a little bit more because a lot of the times, a lot of our clients have difficulty understanding how to really build that trust and those relationships. And that's obviously very key to negotiation. So I was hoping to get a little bit more specific here on how, you know, you're meeting a new supplier, a new distributor, anything like that, how do you really work to build that trust? I mean, um, are you able to do it in just one meeting? How exactly, what are some key takeaways that we can give to our audience on how to be successful in building those relationships?
Transparency, honesty, or if you had two words that I would give you, I would say that. Um, One of the biggest successes, biggest successes to a trusting relationship is that transparency, that respect, and honesty. And it's business, so what you what I tell everybody is, I'm always going to be honest with you. You may not like what I have to tell you. Hey, you didn't win the business, or you didn't, we're cutting the program out, right? You're not going to get as much share, uh, but you can always count on it being honest, right? And being truthful. And that's all I expect, back. And I think, a round or two of that, and they see, that your word is true, and a lot of great things come out of that. And so you can, uh, in addition to, you didn't win, or you didn't get a socket or something like that, i- why? Right? Be very clear with them, and I think people appreciate that. And above all of it, treat everyone with respect. These are not transactional things. This is not a I win, you lose conversation ever. These are definitely more distributive type discussions and conversations, where we're definitely, it's a give or take. Remember, uh, I tell people, I'm always weary of the toes I step on or crush, because I could be needing that person, here pretty soon. So yeah, it's those are some of the things that I definitely, you know really focus on in relationships.
Yeah, I think that's so helpful because I think sometimes people feel that um, if you work on the relationship and you're transparent, somehow you're giving something up. We will often talk to people about there's actually tangible value to be gained when you can operate in an environment of trust and transparency and honesty. And I'm guessing that's something you've experienced.
Absolutely. And to a point where some people will tell you something that they were told not to tell you. And my rule here is, look, I will never reveal a source. I will never reveal. But if and back to that internal piece. If I look at my boss and I say, look, it's not going to happen. Can't tell you why, but I'm going to tell you it's not going to happen. They know now not to ask, right? And they know it's not my opinion. I have something, that is worthy. It came up recently. There was a failed start of a front end process for some silicon, right? And they there was a miss. Somebody forgot or didn't do their job to get it started. Well, that's a lengthy process. If it doesn't start on time, right? It doesn't come through. Well, they didn't want to admit to their mistake at the higher level. But our guy said it didn't happen. And you didn't hear from me, but it didn't happen. And of course, I will never say anything. But what's so critical is when I'm sitting in front of the executive team and they're looking for me to give them the confidence that we are either going to get something or we're not going to get a part. Look, I can tell them with certainty we're not going to get it, right? And so we're not going to play this game and go back and forth, and we're going to keep our relationship above board. We're going to keep it on, but I don't have to tell them all the other details, how I found out or whatever. And then we move on, right? Because that's business, and otherwise, he's stringing me along, and it's just that slippery slope into terribleness, and that's not a relationship.
And I think something that you said there was really important because, for our listeners, what Gary just talked about was managing internal stakeholders. And so being able to paint that picture to your bosses so that they have trust with you so that you can get that authority that you need to move forward in the negotiation. So thanks for bringing that up, Gary. I appreciate it.
So, Gary, a few moments ago, you alluded to just the challenges of the past several years, the pandemic, a lot of different stressors occurring right now on on supply chain. Um, What are some of the biggest changes, challenges, even opportunities with negotiations that you're a part of? Both, I guess, two-part question here. Um, in terms of how they're conducted, maybe the process of the negotiation, and also kind of the what they're about, maybe more around substance and terms.
How they're conducted, Zoom, email, chats, that kind of stuff. So it's taken a lot of that personal touch. We do a lot of communicating with our bodies, and you can always tell by posture, by certain, how painful some of these things are or are not. Uh, but at the same time, I think, and I'm going to jump to the second part of the question here, is we're negotiating for different things right now. Where before your number one priority was, dollar per widget, or cost, and immediate cost. But now we're really focusing on linearity of supply, or supply continuity is trumping the cost. And I think it's not that cost isn't part of the conversation. It's just cost is, hey, in time we're going to get the cost out. So we're looking a year or 2 years out, right, at whatever comfort. And again, not holding them to an absolute number, but getting ranges. And while again, I don't mean to come across or sound as if we're not being fiscally responsible. I mean, of course cost is important, but I will tell you, I have heard it from various suppliers that our style of negotiating during this pandemic, where there were second order and third order events happening to the supply chain, our style was much more preferred. They no yelling and screaming, and just you know I want every penny, because you know what, a good partner is going to come back to you with that when the time is right. But right now I can lean in. Our products are, we have high demand. People love our product. And so therefore, hey, let's give me good supply, and we'll get to the cost again. We'll revisit that shortly.
Hey, thanks for checking out this video on NEGOTIATEx TV. If you found any value at all, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification icon if you want to be notified of future videos, and then we also have a couple videos over here that you might be interested in checking out. If you, in your small business, your team, are looking to get negotiations or leadership training, then you can head over to negotiatex.com and learn more about the coaching services we offer. Thanks, and I'll see you over the next video.